Let's move to basketball now. And it looked like the Toronto Raptors were starting to answer some of the questions that people had for them about that next step. They have, I would say, overperformed expectations so far this season. But now you belong in that tier. Can you do anything with it? And so far, it seems like the answer is no. Again, looked like they were kind of coming out of it a little bit, but now they stumble back into it. Let's talk about a bit of a frustrating weekend for the Toronto Raptors. So, again, a tough weekend for the Raptors after, again, a couple of their better performances. One against the Suns about a week ago, and then the win over the Pistons. The two legitimate wins for this team that has been dying to get any kind of a win against any kind of a contender. And then the wheels kind of fall off a little bit. They had a great showing against the Denver Nuggets, but blow a double-digit lead. Fourth quarter issues plaguing this team again, and then they just get the bricks beat off of them by the Phoenix Suns. And so that's it keeps coming back, and maybe it's unfair, but it does keep coming back to, can this team compete with higher level teams? And the answer just consistently is no. Now, we were saying this about the Knicks last year, but the Knicks were much more of a proven commodity than the Raptors were. And yes, New York then goes on the run to the Eastern Conference Final. I don't think this team has that in them. And they are just showing it over and over and over again that they just don't. That there's no way you can say that they do. It was frustrating. It was really frustrating this weekend. A lifeless performance against the Phoenix Suns. And you can't afford to have that. I get it's a long road trip. They kind of poured everything into the matchup with the Nuggets on Friday night, I believe it was. And so to come out a little blah or a little flat against Phoenix, I guess makes a little bit of sense. But you can't afford to have those right now. The Philadelphia 76ers are seventh. That's the plan. And they're half a game back of Toronto, who currently sit in fifth. And Toronto right now, like we said, there isn't really that, oh, wow, that's the matchup that's going to get the Raptors into the Eastern Conference Finals again, because they just haven't performed against these high-level teams. But if there's going to be any part of the bracket that's going to get them there, it's going to be facing Cleveland in the first round and then facing the Pistons in the second round. Both of those teams would be heavy favorites against Toronto, but I think that gives you a much better shot of getting through than having to go past the Knicks and the Celtics in the first two rounds of the Eastern Conference Finals. So they need to stay right where they're at in the standings to have any hope, I think, of moving beyond just the first round, and they're not going to do that with performances like that over the weekend. So you can't afford to be coming out flat in these moments and in these games. Brandon Ingram has been an amazing story for the Raptors this season. But that was a pretty putrid performance when the team really needed a bit of a lift, and they really missed his scoring, and they couldn't overcome it. Pirtle had a big night against the Nuggets, and then was non-existent against the Suns. So that consistent nature against these high-level teams is going to cost them, I think, as we go on. Now, there were some pluses, and I think the big positive to take is the play of Jacoby Walter. 14 points, 4 of 5 from 3 against the Nuggets on Friday, and then 13 points on 3 of 3 from 3, and 5 of 7 from the field against the Phoenix Suns on Sunday evening. This was supposed to be what the bench was. And so in a year where Murray Boyles has been great, banged up right now, but it does feel like some of these guys haven't really progressed in the way that you would like them to. It is great to have someone like Walter coming in and just providing that spark for this Raptors team. And so it's nice to see him really start to heat up here for Toronto in big games where they need that spark and they need someone to step up in that way. But the problem is the bench was a bit of a liability in these two. And like the plus minus stats against the Suns, they got blown out by 100. So everyone's going to look bad in that. But they lost the bench battle to the Nuggets, who did a lot of work in the offseason and around the trade deadline to improve the bench. But that's not a team you're losing bench minutes to if you want to be competitive against them. And so this was supposed to be the strength of the Raptors, is you have the starters, couple of all-stars on the team, and just a solid group of starters. And then you have the rotation pieces behind you, these young players that can come in, and you can just 2019 Raptors teams to death where there's just no minutes played by bad players. But Grady Dick has not been someone that they can rely on this season, and now you're losing bench nights to the Nuggets. Can't happen. Cannot happen if this team wants to take any kind of a step in the postseason. So it's nice that one of them have stepped up, but it just didn't work this weekend, and that cannot happen for the Toronto Raptors. So how much, I guess, what are your expectations for the Raptors going down the stretch? Let me know in the comments. Like, is this just gravy? Am I overreacting to a team that wasn't expected to be just in a playoff spot, let alone a top 5, top 6 role? Let me know if I'm being a bit too harsh on them, or if you have the same concerns that I do. And of course, get Couch Potato Diary with you wherever you go. Just search for us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.